Hello and welcome to the Fanalytics YouTube show where we dig deeper into your questions. Today we'll be going over game week 4, what results happened, or where did we go right, where did we go wrong, and we also look at game week 5 and see what we can do to fix our ranks. Anyway, let's start off with Matt. How did you do? What were your transfers and was it a good week?
It was a great week. It was a great week in terms of points, 86 total points, but the transfers were particularly important. Perisic in for Trippier, Gross in for Grealish, plus what's that? Plus 15 straight away. Beautiful. It's not often you get everything right in fantasy, but
Yeah, true.
it's nice when it all comes together like that.
So there's your team. Tell me how it went.
Yeah, I mean, eight out of 11 hold. Unfortunately, I managed to pick one of the three that didn't as my captain. Just, it's not often that you get the captaincy so wrong and still like get 86 points.
Yeah, it's
It was an
ridiculous.
unbelievable week in terms of some of those hauls. I didn't have Trent either, who was one of the highest scorers. Just it was just a good week. Every time someone scored, he seemed to be affiliated with my team.
You didn't even have Trent.
Nope, no Trent. And the no Salah train had a great week this week.
And even not that many points on the bench this time.
No, that's always nice to know that I put the right players in the starting 11 this week. Now, if I could just fix my captaincy problem, I'll be laughing. That's every single week.
Who did you captain?
I captained Jesus this week for an almighty 2 points. couldn't have done it without you, Gabriel.
Is there any players in that team right now where you think are on the chopping block or on the red zone?
Yeah, Son's getting to that point now. Well, he's got to that point for me, in fact. But yeah, I mean, Saka managed to get himself an assist, which was important because he's someone that in the back of my mind I was thinking about. But really, it's only really Son that's week after week not doing anything for my team. Diaz, Man City, he'll get clean sheets. The guys I brought in instantly started hauling. Perisic might be a rotation risk, but no, I'm happy with that team at the moment. 86 points, lovely.
Yeah, you're definitely moving on the upward trajectory here. You were bottom, or near bottom, not to me, but now you're rising to the top.
Cream always rises to the top.
Wow. Anyway, let's talk about my transfer. It's the first transfer week that I didn't get a negative, so I'm taking that as the small positive of this week. So yeah, I transferred Neto out for Rodrigo. Rodrigo was more of a long-term pick. I didn't really think he was going to do much against Birmingham. They have a great defense. But he's got Everton, Nottingham Forest, and I think I want to say Southampton. But yeah, some great fixtures ahead for himself.
In terms of, I think so. I just on the Neto one. I think long term, I think that was a guy that you had to replace. He's a guy that will disappoint you long term, I think.
Yeah, and Wolves aren't really creating anything. Just more of like pot shots from far away. So actually, when I watched the replay for Neves' goal, I thought it was Neto and I was cursing, but it was Gators instead. So I'm okay.
He almost got the assist, Neto, that on that goal that was ruled out. So it was almost a painful week for you.
Yeah, again. Yeah, but in terms of points, I've sort of rebounded. My double Liverpool defense finally came good. My Man City double defense, again, disappointed. But it was Crystal Palace. Maybe I thought we were going to score anyway, but I didn't expect them to score 2. Saliba, I was very lucky, got the assist. It was kind of just rebound off his back for Gabriel. But in terms of that, same with you with Saka. Got an assist. It's kind of important when you're weighing him against Martinelli, who's been quite in good form. So it's good that Saka kind of outpointed him at least for one more week. And obviously, Captain Salah. I mean, every other week when Liverpool scored 9 goals, Salah would have got a couple of goals, a couple of assists.
I think that's one of the most unbelievable weeks of fantasy I've ever seen, where Liverpool scored 9 goals and Salah doesn't get a goal or an assist.
And it's not like he didn't have chances either. Like there was a
that
good couple of chances where he missed two
yeah,
yards
yeah.
out of the box. So I feel like it's just one of those things where it definitely was the right decision. It's just you're on the really, 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 really bad side of XG. Like that was just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most people did captain Salah for this one. Net, it's not too much of a net loss. But I remember last week I did talk about Liverpool defenders. This might be the week to take a punt on Trent Alexander-Arnold, and boy, if anyone did, they're laughing.
I should have listened to you, Matt.
I
should have
listened to myself. I got Van Dijk. I should have captained him. He scored.
But yeah, it was good for Robertson. Finally got an attacking return too, along with a clean sheet. So he's kind of back in my good races for one more week.
I think.
Yep, carry on.
I was just gonna say that. This is the thing with like double Liverpool defense. Like there'll be times where they'll let in the odd goal, but once you get a clean sheet and a good result, you've made it all back pretty much. Like how many points have you got from Robertson and Trent?
24,
26.
26. Yeah, so that's like just under half your points right there. So it's good that you stuck with it. Like stick to your guns. Once you've done it, like just try your best to stay with it. Games can make the games nervy, but well on you to do it, because a lot of people either transferred Trent or Robertson out. So
yeah, a lot of people transferred Trent out. Like I think 400,000 it was. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah,
a lot of reactionary. Are you concerned with Salah?
No. I think he's still got the most touches in the box, still creating a lot more than he does previous seasons. And yeah, I think the goals will come. He, like JC said, he had two great chances. I think they were like XG at 1.5. So any other day, would have been.
It does seem to be quite similar to the Son thing, where most people still do expect them to get going. It's just a little concerning how deep into the season it's going with these guys. I think a big time for Salah will be straight after the World Cup. I think
because he has no World Cup.
Yeah, Haaland as well, but Haaland's in most teams at the moment anyway. But yeah, I think he will get going. But it is an ongoing thing from the back end of last season where Diaz seems to be the guy that gets on the end of a lot more. Things seem to be created through that side. And when Darwin's back in the team, which he will be because he was awesome when he was in the team, the red card's not going to change anything in that regard. He was a focal point for Liverpool, so it might be a concern going forward with that price point.
Yeah, because it's 13 million, you expect a bit more. But I do agree with you. The right hand side has become more of the creative hub, like Liverpool. So you got Trent, Elliott, and Salah. They all seem to interchanging to create something for someone. And either like Diaz got in the box, Nunez will get in the box. So yeah, I agree with you on that point. But he is creating at least. So.
Yeah, he'll get there.
So JC, what was your transfer last week?
So I finally took out Nunez. I had him on the red card bench for 1 week, but I decided to take him out for Tony against Everton in game week 4. I think he hit the post once and could have got an assist from Mbeumo, but Mbeumo does Mbeumo things and he misses quite a decent amount of chances. So that's a bit of a hard pill to take. It could have been a decent haul, but unfortunately it's just the way it is. I still think Tony's a great player, and obviously against Everton, they did lose the game 1-0, but they did kind of waste their chances there. And I guess that's the problem with teams like Brentford. Like if they get their chance and take it, more likely than not, they'll score the points. But they do have their times where they blow hot and cold and they just don't. And this is what they get. Like a 1-0 loss to Everton probably isn't the best result. Probably one of the worst results you could probably get. But we go on. So I did. Oh, sorry, girl.
I was just going to say, how was your overall week?
Overall week, yeah, not the best. Sitting below average with 59 points. I feel very hard done by a couple of. Firstly, Ederson like conceding 2 goals to Palace and then coming back 4-2 was just kind of a bit of a hot.
Could have been 3. Could have been 3 if it wasn't for a refereeing decision.
Yeah, I saw that on the highlights. I thought that was a bit of an odd decision. I thought that the ball was out of his hand, so I thought.
No, I've seen that before. I remember Henry did one years ago where he flicked it out of Friedel's hands as he went to take a goal kick and put it in the net. Like, if you allow that goal, you just invite strikers to start blocking goalkeepers at every opportunity. It'd just be it'd be a joke. So I don't hate that goal being disallowed.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, yeah, I think it does kind of open that for odd goals, but obviously Haaland came back for a hat trick, and it was a slightly annoying where I was on the verge of captaining him. I had this thing like every couple of weeks where I decide to go against the main pick for captains just to see, if we can catch up on points just by captaining a different player. And obviously, when I saw the Salah result, as we discussed before, him getting no returns in a 9-goal game, I was laughing. And then I captained Jesus, and he got less points, which made me cry. But we go on, and even then, like I feel like the squad overall isn't doing its best. James and Cucurella both got an assist, but letting the goal from Leicester. Bailey came off the bench because Zinchenko didn't play because he had a sprained ankle.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks like he'll be out for a bit. So he's already on my mind to be on the chopping block. Martinelli didn't really do much. I saw it from the highlights. So yeah, not the best week for me.
No. I think the Zinchenko thing where it's players picking up slight knocks and missing games that there's not really been much news about heading into the game is going to be something that starts creeping in now. We're heading to that point of the season where it's 2 games a week. We're going to see a lot more rotation. I think now that we're sort of 4 weeks into it, we have a good idea of those players outside the top 6 that are decent picks that you can rely on week to week. I think now's the time to start trying to move a lot of those players into your teams, because the top 6 teams, there will be a lot of rotation now, and there's going to be a bit of pain certain game weeks.
Yeah, we've discussed it before where they want to do all the Champions League group games before the World Cup. Obviously, the League Cup is starting, I think, tomorrow.
No, it's Premier League this week, but yeah, League Cup's around the corner.
League Cup games are coming. Like, to get a full squad of 15 players, you need to know kind of the players that are outside the top 6. So Brighton, Leeds, Newcastle, like all these teams have really good players that could get you points. And I think in between now and the wild card, which I think for me will probably be like 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think
you kind of need to know what players from those teams you'll need, and kind of now for me, it's kind of I need to transform my team into bringing in more of those players.
Cool. So let's look at the leaderboard now. So I believe Matt has overtaken JC. I've sort of slightly caught up, still a few points behind. But yeah, it's very tight between us. What's 15, 17 points? It's been like that for a few weeks.
I don't think anyone's strung 2 great weeks together yet so far this season. I think we've all sort of had moments where we've had a good week, and then suddenly we're 3rd place the next week out of the 3 of us. So no one's pulling away as yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what, 17 points between us 3. Like that's a good captaincy.
Yeah, that's Haaland.
Yeah, it's Haaland. Yeah,
exactly. Totally. And I feel like we're still at this phase of the season where we're all trying to guess which players are coming up, or like at least thinking of plans to get to the ideal team first 11. But yeah, early days in the season, isn't it? Like,
oh
yeah, plenty of more sorrow to come. So Matt, who was your one to watch last week, and how did they do?
My one to watch was Nick Pope. Didn't quite get the clean sheet. Wolves actually surprisingly managed to score a goal. But he did get that save bonus point, which he is liable to get week to week. He's a very, very good shot stopper. I mentioned that in my talking about him last week in the preview show.
Yeah.
And I do genuinely think he's a great option, long term. He's in that 5 million bracket, so it's that middle ground where you don't want to overcommit to the goalkeeper position, but you want to go for one of those decent ones, not just a base 4.5 kind of guy. He's a great option in that range.
To be fair, the goal Wolves scored was Never's long range shot. So
yeah, we mentioned that. We mentioned that Wolves only seem capable of shooting from distance. Every now and again, Neves will pop one of those in the back of the net. So he's a good option. Nick Pope, like him.
Yeah, I think the good thing about about Pope is that past the Liverpool and Crystal Palace game, he's got a really good run of fixtures. So maybe someone who, if you want to put in your wildcard team, if you went for like the higher end option, maybe he's a good goalkeeper to latch onto first, because as we said, he's always in for like the save points, and even if he does get a random goal let in, he'll always be in there.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, you take out that City game and you can write that off as a one-off. They've only conceded 1 goal from the other 3 games they've had this season, Newcastle, so they're defensively pretty sound.
That's true. Like Wolves' lucky goal, City, you're going to concede. They're doing quite well defensively, and they've been doing defensive well the whole year, the whole calendar year anyway. My pick was Trossard, mostly for he seems to be getting further up the pitch now. I think they have a new left back. I can't really pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. But he's from Colombia, and now Trossard, I think, is now part of the front 3. I also saw that Leeds were conceding a lot from wide areas because of the central press. And for the goal, to be fair, Trossard did come from wide area, come centre, and then laid it off for Gross. So I'm happy with that choice. I didn't choose my own choice, but I'll take it as a small little win.
Yeah, he's good, Trossard. I like him. So go on, Jay.
No, I was gonna. Did he get the goal or did he get the assist? I can't remember.
Assist.
Okay.
Let's go on to the game week 5 matches. Are there any matches here from an FPL standpoint that kind of stand out to you guys?
It's a bit trickier. This week. Obviously every week we say it. You look at Liverpool, City, maybe Chelsea as well, and Liverpool, Newcastle. We just spoke about how good they are. They're still unbeaten this season. Forest, away to Man City, that is obviously a difficult game for them on paper, but they're a pretty good team, well put together. They did cause Spurs problems on Sunday. I don't think they quite have that cutting edge. I think Jamie Carragher mentioned it. They were better in between the 2 penalty areas, but in the penalty areas, Spurs were just you could see the difference between those teams. So yeah, we might be at a point where it's like Salah last season for Haaland, where you just leave that captaincy on him.
Yep, I think I don't think Nottingham Forest have any weapons to hurt City. Like City were hurt by Eze for her set piece deliveries, and then the week before it was ASM. So I can't really see anyone in Forest's team that could hurt or kind of exploit their great defense. So it could be a good clean sheet, and I could see Man City scoring a few in that one.
Yeah, but City have been a little bit worrying the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
5 goals conceded. Maybe I think they're missing Laporte quite a bit, to be fair, but yeah, it's not nailed on. I wouldn't be thinking, City defenders or anything like that for the cat. I think Haaland's probably your safest bet most weeks at the moment, and there will be rotation risk where Alvarez will start the odd games and maybe just nail your vice captaincy picks most weeks. Make sure that's in the right place. Don't forget that.
Hope he doesn't come on for 1 pointer.
I think the one flag to say on the Haaland games, now that midweek matches, like they're playing 2 games a week pretty much, Haaland could be up the potential for sub starting on the bench.
Yeah.
Haaland did one of the reasons why it's been noted that one of the reasons Haaland came over is because he would actually not play every game. And obviously that means Alvarez, which is City's other signing up front, may play more minutes. We know nothing, obviously. But, and even if Haaland does come off the bench, I would bet he would still probably score, but, just something to note for sure. Like, obviously he's a great striker, but, I think for me, when it comes to like this time of the season, because we've got such an early wild card option, I'm now starting to look at the other games for the players in the kind of just below top 6 to scout out, to make sure that we're getting the right information to explain the extra. I'm flashing for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, so like Leeds, Everton, obviously watching Rodrigo, Aronson, and Harrison, all good players. We'd love to see which one kind of comes out firmly on top, if any. Be a great choice to see. Likewise, like Brentford and Crystal Palace. I think Saha's injured, but want to see Tony doing more as well, and see more for Mitrovic and for Fulham, and Gross and Trossard for Brighton. Like, all these players will be really important, because I think everyone, at least within the top million, will have 2 or 3 of Haaland, Jesus, Kane.
Yeah.
All these players.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at some of the other options would be a good idea as well.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think this is basically, gathering intelligence kind of time with a lot of these teams headed into the wild card, because there will be rotation. I think a lot of people are talking about in FPL circles, the template team is quite overpowered this year, maybe. But I think that's liable to get broken up over the next few weeks with all these, influx of games that are ahead of us. And yeah, get as much information, how reliable are these players week to week outside of the top 6? Are they long term, or is it just kind of 2 or 3 weeks here and there?
Yep. So let's do some ones to watch, the ones we've seen. So Matt, who's your one to watch?
My one to watch is Jack Harrison. I think if you're looking at a cheap option in midfield, I think now is the time to get Jack Harrison in. Rodrigo's a great shout as well, obviously, for playing through the middle, but Jack Harrison's stringing together good weeks now. Mm-hmm. He's already got 3 assists on the season. He's got himself a goal as well. But this game in particular, they're coming up against a struggling Everton side. 1.78 XG against per game for Everton. They've got 3 at the back, but they don't look like a particularly strong unit defensively. Leeds attack for fun. They're averaging 1.5 XG per game themselves. You would imagine, I think they're at home to Everton. Leeds, you expect goals from them, and I think Jack Harrison's going to be central to that.
Yeah, I think the Brighton game was the first game they've blanked, right? So,
yeah. Do you think with everyone bringing in Rodrigo either this week or next week, do you think having a double up in Leeds is a good idea? Because obviously Rodrigo is playing up front, so it's not really taking up that space, is it?
Yeah, it's difficult when you get outside the top 6. I'm always a bit more wary of doubling up on teams outside of there, just because they are a little bit more, inconsistent. I prefer just one guy, and I think Harrison is a better option in terms of that kind of dual threat of goals and assists. I think Rodrigo is going to be more of someone that gets on the end of a lot. Might be their kind of Bamford, if a little less potent than he was a couple of years ago. But I think Harrison, he delivers a lot of their set pieces as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's got much more of an assist threat, which I think is a little bit more of a genuine long-term asset in FPL terms.
Yeah, for 6 million to get someone who's set pieces and quite good at set pieces, that's quite a good bargain. And like you said, I think he's been quite consistent in his chance creation per game. I think Rodrigo just kind of flushes into the game. Like he'll be like in the periphery and then comes in and scores the goals, which is probably good because you get the bonus points and stuff. But Harrison's a consistent threat down that wing.
Yeah, and the price point's important as well. There's almost $1 million in it now. With the Rodrigo just keeps rising and rising. Harrison might be the bargain.
Mm-hmm. For my one to watch, it is KDB. I've gone for maybe more of the obvious choice. Man City versus Nottingham Forest. KDB has 23 shot career actions and 6 goal career actions, the highest in the Premier League at the moment. He's got 1 goal and 3 assists from probably a bit more performing. But if you know about KDB, he does that quite a lot in terms of because his goals come from outside the box and he just seems to be creating from any position. So the reason I chose KDB, it was a bit of a toss-up between him, Haaland, and Gundogan. It's more about Nottingham Forest conceding a lot from the middle and the right. I think a lot of goals, they come from outside the box or from crosses from the right. So I think KDB is kind of that perfect archetype in that zone. So I'm expecting if Haaland's in the team to probably score more points, but I'm not too sure if he starts or not. I'm a bit middle in my mind in that one. But I think KDB starts in this one, but let's see Pep Roulette listening to that one. But if he does start, I expect him to do quite well.
Yeah, I think KDB is about as safe as any of the Man City options. He's probably even safer than their centre backs. Their centre backs get rotated more than he does. He is, if he's fit, he's generally in the team, and he is pretty fit. He's one who, as the Champions League starts to come and stuff like that, I think he'll still get more minutes than most. Because he's their captain, he's their talisman. He's very, very fit. The SCA and goal creating actions, those are absolutely bonkers. He's averaging almost 6 SCA a game, over 1 GCA a game as well. That's pretty impressive from central midfield.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's the way City play now. That's why I'm a bit concerned with Cancelo, because he's not getting as high up, but it allows Gundogan and KDB to be the main kind of threat, creativity and goal threat.
Yeah, I think it can be like that with Cancelo, where there's some weeks where he's just not quite the attacking weapon. It's a bit more relaxed from him, and I think it's just become a bit more noticeable over the past couple of weeks just because they didn't get the clean sheets.
Yeah,
which we're kind of used to getting with Man City defenders, and those clean sheets will come. I think this is just a slight sort of difficult couple of weeks for Man City. They'll get back to keeping clean sheets, but yeah, I love KDB. There's always the temptation with Gundogan, but it seems to happen time and time again with him. Every year he becomes an FPL asset for a few weeks, and then for not really any clear reason, he's out of the team for a bunch of weeks.
I guess you have Bernardo Silva, right? So
yeah,
you saw what he did last week.
Yeah. It's true, but yeah, KDB is safe for the most part from all that rotation.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had something to say, JC.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah.
you were about to say something.
Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he. I don't know if he's going to start the Forest game. To be honest, like I think he started every game. I think bar game week 1. I don't think he started. So I don't know if he will. To be honest,
I think he has started every game.
Has he? Okay,
I think so. And you're right. Like it does feel that kind of game that if you are going to rest him, maybe this is the one. I don't know. It's hard.
It's hard to know with Pep.
We're trying to outthink Pep Guardiola. Who
Well,
knows what that guy's thinking? Yeah,
but
I don't think he always knows what he's thinking.
To be fair, like with what Gundogan didn't start, so he might start this week. You know, Bernardo's on great form. Foden, seems to be one of Pep's favourites. So I don't know if he will, especially with the Champions League game starting soon. So I don't know, especially at that. This is the thing with these high points players, like they're high points for a reason. You want them to be doing minutes, but Pep's in that special case where he just has so much talent that he can flex people out. And for 12 million, do you want that when you've got like Son, Sterling, these players that kind of get the minutes, but they probably don't have the output. But yeah, if he does start, definitely. But I don't know.
Well, even with Son, Conte has alluded to the fact that the Tottenham team is going to get rotated heavily as the Champions League gets going. He said even Kane will be rested for like the first time in like 4 years, because it's not often Kane sits on the bench when fully fit. But it's going to be happening all over the place. So
I guess with the 5 subs, they can always come on for like 20 or 30 minutes as well.
Yeah.
And especially at the end of the game, if they're winning 2-3-0, there's a lot of space.
Yeah, KDB can cause damage even if he's only on the pitch for 2 minutes. How
about you, JC? Who's your one to watch?
So I had a slightly different one. I kind of went for Bruno. I think Bruno kind of had a bit of a hard sell last year because Ronaldo came into a lot of the games, and obviously when they're together, Bruno just plays a completely different role. But seeing that Ten Hag seems to take this stance with Ronaldo where, he doesn't want to start him because he wants that high pressure football. And now Bruno's the captain with Maguire being benched. I feel like the team is more set up to allow Bruno to get started. And obviously he got the goal against Southampton. So I'm really considering that he has a higher chance of minutes. He does that thing where he first started. He has that play style when he first started for United, where he would just run up the pitch as a late run into the box. And obviously with Ronaldo being there, that kind of role disappeared. But now given the Southampton game, we kind of saw more of that now. Late runs into the box, playing decent balls to the wingers. Obviously, he can take some set pieces. So I just felt like this was kind of a coming back of Fernandes, where every other game he would kind of get an assist or a goal or a haul, and coming up to game week 7 or just past that, United have some good fixtures, and obviously we're playing Leicester this week with Arsenal after that, so it could be one to watch for the future. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a haul against Leicester or maybe even gets a goal against Arsenal. Yeah, I think it's just interesting that he is back to the Bruno we know, which is a great thing.
Yeah, Leicester's a great matchup for any team at the moment, attacking wise. They're dreadful defensively. And yeah, you're right. Bruno's kind of a lesson in there's no guarantees. There's no such thing as a sure thing. Last year we came into the season, Bruno was one of those kind of essential guys really for most people, and he never got going really all season. It wasn't entirely his fault, because if you looked at a lot of his stats, he was still creating a lot of chances, more chances than any of his teammates. He still had a lot of shots. He wasn't scoring as many penalties. He missed a couple of penalties last season, which affected his total output as well. But he's still central to what United do well. And I think with Bruno Fernandes, it's less about him. I'm thinking more about the team around him. If United settle and get into a good run of games where they just, they start to string a few good performances together, then I think Bruno does start to become a guy that will be in a lot of people's plans, FPL wise, because if United are playing well, he'll be at the centre of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think Bruno has such a high output, even if he doesn't score or assist. He's like you said, chance creator is still like one of the highest in the leagues for the year. I think since he came to the league, he's still the highest. He's the midfield with the highest goals since his debut, which is still, he's probably riding his coattails a little bit. But if he ever gets back to any kind of attacking play by Ten Hag, I think we'll see him benefit the most, especially with runners. He's going to get a lot of space, and he's got a really nice finish to him. That goal against Southampton was very nice.
Oh, it was lovely. Yeah. It was lovely. I feel like with Ten Hag moving more towards this counter-attacking style, I just feel like, especially with the players with Rashford and Sancho, who was also going to be in my ones to watch, but I decided Bruno. But yeah, I just feel like he could definitely get more goals in, and it's FPL's a fickle game. It takes 2 goals in one game week, and then all of a sudden everybody wants him. And I think he's currently sitting at 9.8. I need to double check that, but for 9.8,
yes, it's a
you
decent.
wouldn't turn down on that.
Yeah, because last season he was priced out in terms of what he was actually producing.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that price has come down, he is a decent option. You're right about Sancho, because I almost had him in my one to watch as well.
Mm-hmm. So good.
And United do have those kind of players. Elanga and Sancho have looked really bright the last couple of games, but none of them strike me as finishers. Bruno is much more of a finisher than those two, and if United start to create chances again with Ronaldo out of the team, which in the short term it seems to be the case, Bruno is probably their top finisher, their main finisher. They haven't got a guy outside of Ronaldo that scores goals in huge amounts. So yeah, I think we could be looking at Bruno.
And if Martial starts, he's normally the one that runs off Martial when Martial drops deep. So he's going to get a lot of in the box chances too.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a good point just to finish on that. This is all predicated on Ronaldo not being a mainstay, being off the bench, which I'm not sure is going to. I don't know. We don't know, but if it does stay like that, we'll see.
The good thing is we're about to find out this week. Transfer deadline day is on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, first.
Yeah, on the 1st. So we'll have answers by next weekend. I think if Ronaldo doesn't get a move away, he will be reintegrated into the team. There's just no way he doesn't play for 6 months. That's just not going to happen. So yeah, that is worth keeping an eye on. So maybe it's a pause with Bruno, especially with the fixtures lining up after 7 onwards. I think that's when it might be worth looking at bringing him into the team.
Oh yeah. So JC, what is your transfer for Game Week 5?
So yeah, my transfer was Bailly to Rodrigo. I jumped on the Rodrigo train. I couldn't do it last week because I didn't have the funds, so I pulled it off for a week, which was the best timing because it was against Brighton. So obviously I ate up probably a 0.2 million price increase, which that's quite a bit, I would say, but I couldn't do it any other way. But really, really in on Leeds. Every game I've watched, I find them so entertaining to watch. Like, it's just so much fun to watch them play. So that has a very small percentage of why I picked him, but obviously he's playing up front in a Leeds team that kind of creating lots of chances. And yeah, just hoping he grabs some in the good run of fixtures, because if he does get a good haul in the next 3 or 4 weeks, he might even stay for the wild card.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about sort of price changes. Players going up by 0.2 or whatever. There's a lot of fluctuation at the start of the season. Players tend to go up and down pretty dramatically. But you just get good players in your team if they cost a little bit more. At this point in time, you're just trying to accumulate points. Just get good players in your team, and Bailey's just consistently not performing, so it's a no-brainer really, this one.
Yeah, I can't say much about this. This is my last week plan, so so I'm hoping it goes well for you as well.
You could say you could say it's 1 week too late, I guess. But
on to my transfer. I've got rid of Golden Boy Saka, and I went for Martinelli. I've gone off to Saka versus Saka train. This was a bit of a hard one because I obviously really like Saka as a player, and I think he'll do well over the season. But 1.5 million difference, and I think that output will be similar. And I also think, looking at the player positions, Martinelli is almost exactly the same position as Gabriel Jesus. And I think Saka's being more the creative outlet of the team. It's a bit almost like the Salah situation where the right hand side is the creative hub, but who's going to finish the chances? Is it going to be Jesus or Martinelli? So I've gone for this change, and I pocketed some money. So
I think this is one of those FPL quirks where I don't think there's much difference between Saka and Martinelli in terms of football. It's more that Martinelli is just underpriced, I feel.
Yeah.
and you've just got to take advantage of that at that point. Like I think Saka's probably the better player, but at one point you could do a lot with 1.5 million. So yeah, you just chose the wrong winger. Like it could have happened to anyone, to be honest.
Well, he was my last choice before game week 1. It was him and Nunes, so and now I regret that.
Yeah, with Saka, Arsenal looked to isolate him 1-on-1 with fullbacks with quick switches, which teams are quite high on there. They're looking to not do that because Saka will kill you 1-on-1. Martinelli is a lot more dynamic and explosive and can create stuff out of absolutely nothing. He's liable to just dribble past 3 players and get a shot off out of absolutely nothing. That's what makes him an exciting option. He was slightly off against Fulham. His final ball was off. Had a couple of wild efforts on goal.
He still had like 5 shots, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, he is liable to do that. Saka just feels like more polished. That's what I like about Saka as an option. But yeah, as you mentioned, the production, Martinelli's actually outproducing Saka at the moment, and is way cheaper. So make the move.
Yeah. Well, watch now. Saka's going to score like double hat tricks in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, you guaranteed it for sure.
Yeah, you've been pretty good at that, to be fair. So far this season.
I need to do the opposite of what I say. Anyway, Matt, who's your transfer and why?
Well, I'm finally off the Son train for now. It's been a difficult start to the season for him. I think it's just the 1 assist so far, which was on opening day.
Corner, yeah.
Yeah. He came off against Forest. He looked pretty upset, angry, and with the run of fixtures, he is going to get rested. Richarlison's looking sharp for Spurs, so he might be the guy that comes in. So it felt like the right time, and Sterling's banging form. He seems to be Chelsea's main guy in a side that just seems to really struggle to score. I think he's looking like the guy that's going to at least get the most. He might not be, 20 goals this season, but he's their goal scorer at the moment. Havertz isn't going to score anywhere near enough.
I think I agree with the Son transfer. I'm not too hot on Sterling. I think I haven't really seen much of Chelsea attack like in centre. Like Sterling might have got 2 goals, but he hasn't. He's kind of got half chances, I feel. I think Reece James gets most of the clear-cut chances.
Yeah, they often do get James arriving late when they do that switch.
Yeah,
across the pitch. But Sterling does have a lot of touches in the box for Chelsea. Even in the Leeds game where they got battered 3-0, he had 2 great chances early on. So, it is always the problem with Sterling that he's going to miss some sitters, quite a lot. But that was the one thing that he really developed at Man City. He has a killer instinct inside the box, and gets a lot of opportunities for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think he's a decent long-term option. Chelsea, they're a little bit hit and miss at the moment, but I like him. He seems to be their main man, and he's way cheaper than Son.
How much money did he save?
I think Son had dropped to 11.8. I bought Sterling in for 9.9, so that's almost 2 million.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's a big chunk. And Chelsea's got some good fixtures. Well, they've got Southampton, West Ham, Fulham, Liverpool, Crystal Palace. So definitely teams they can take the chances against for sure.
Yeah, so it's teams that concede a lot of goals.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think Sterling's he's going to start week after week. I don't see him being dropped or rested for periods. If he's plays.
Judging by the last 2 or 3 games, he's so frustrating sometimes. Like he'll miss 1-on-ones, but he'll kind of get the ball on the wing, move inside, go past 3 people, and take a shot. I feel like that's high risk, high reward type transfer.
It's a roller coaster with Sterling. I mean, I've watched him enough for England. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you just want to bang your head against the wall. But he's always there or thereabouts, so that's why I like him long term.
Sounds good. Well, we're looking forward to see how you do in the next few weeks with him. Anyway, this is our FPL rundown end of it. Leave a like, subscribe, and let us know what your changes are. See you guys.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Bye.